For years, IT pros have had this secret weapon built right into Windows Server to solve massive storage problems. And in Windows Server 2025, it's more powerful and more relevant than ever. I'm talking about iSCSI, a technology that completely changes the game by turning the network you already have into a super high-performance storage fabric. So let's kick things off with a classic IT headache. You've got a server, right? And it needs a ton of storage, maybe for a big database or a bunch of virtual machines. The problem is, the server itself is physically out of space, no more drive base. But what if you could just plug it into a giant hard drive sitting somewhere else on your network, using the Ethernet cables you've already got? Well, that's the exact problem iSCSI was born to solve. And that right there, that's the core idea. The absolute magic of iSCSI is that it turns your network into your storage. It just completely flips the script on how you think about where your data lives and how your servers get to it. So what is this thing, iSCSI? Well, the long name is Internet Small Computer System Interface. But really, you can just think of it as a language, a set of rules for sending storage commands over a regular old network. Now, here's the crucial part. It makes those remote disks show up and act exactly as if they were physically bolted inside your server. Your operating system, it can't tell the difference. It thinks that drive is plugged right into the motherboard, just like your C drive. Okay, so how does this magic actually happen? It's really just a simple relationship between two key players. Seriously, think of it like a client and a server, but specifically for storage. You've got the machine that has the storage to share and the machine that needs to use it. All right, let's dig into those two roles. On one side, you have the iSCSI target. Just think of it as the giver. This is your Windows Server 2025 machine that's hosting the storage, sharing out those virtual disks. And on the other side, you've got the iSCSI initiator, or the receiver. This is the client, the server that reaches out and connects to the target to actually use that storage. Simple as that, giver and receiver. Okay, so that's the what, but let's get to the real meat of it, the why. Why should you even care about this thing that's been built right into Windows Server for years? Well, it all comes down to solving very real, very common, and often very expensive problems that we all face in IT. Basically, it boils down to 4 huge wins. We're going to see how iSCSI can slash your costs, why it's an absolute must-have for virtualization and server clusters, how it can make deploying new servers way, way simpler, and how it gives you rock-solid high availability right out of the box. First up, and this is a big one, is the cost. For the longest time, if you wanted high-performance block storage, you were looking at Fibre Channel, and that meant shelling out serious cash for expensive, specialized gear, things like host bus adapters and dedicated Fibre Channel switches. iSCSI just laughs at that. It says, hey, you already have Ethernet network cards and switches? Cool, let's use those. It turns the infrastructure you already own into a full-blown storage area network, or SAN. Now, if you're doing anything with virtualization, like with Hyper-V, this is where iSCSI goes from nice to have to absolutely critical. See, for a Hyper-V failover cluster to work, every single server in that cluster needs to be able to see and access the exact same storage at the same time. This is called shared block storage. iSCSI delivers this perfectly, and that's what makes amazing features like live migration, moving a running VM from one machine to another with zero downtime, possible. Now, what if we took this a step further? Like way further. I want you to imagine having hundreds of servers with no hard drives in them at all. Zero. Instead, they all boot up their entire operating system from a single, perfect master image that lives on your central ISAT target. Think about the management savings. You patch one OS image and poof, hundreds of servers are instantly updated. That is a game changer. But what happens if something breaks? A cable gets unplugged or a network switch dies. Well, iSCSI has this awesome feature called multipathing, or MPIO. It's basically like giving your server 2 different roads to get to the storage. Data's flowing along path A, everything's great. But then, oops, path A fails. Before your application can even blink, the connection instantly fails over to path B. The connection stays live and your users never even know there was a problem. It's built-in business continuity. Okay, I know what some of you might be thinking. iSCSI, isn't that kind of old? And look, you're not wrong, it's been around. But here's the thing, with Windows Server 2025, it's getting a serious modern makeover, making it more powerful and more relevant than ever for today's data centers. For starters, Server 2025 is optimized for the crazy fast storage we have today, like NVMe SSDs, which means lower latency and fewer bottlenecks for your apps. It also plugs right into hybrid cloud setups using Azure Arc, letting you manage your on-prem ISSI storage from the very same Azure portal you use for your cloud stuff. And, crucially, it still plays nice with others, so your Linux servers can connect to your Windows ISSI target no problem. Phew. Okay, we've covered a ton of ground here, from what iSCSI is to why it's so incredibly useful. So let's boil all this down to the one key thing you need to remember, and I'll give you a super simple first step to try it out. So, if there's just one thing you take away from all this, I want it to be this. ISCI isn't some expensive add-on you have to go buy. It is a powerful, super flexible, and incredibly cost-effective storage tool that is already sitting inside your copy of Windows Server, just waiting for you to turn it on. And the best part? You can get started with this in like 2 minutes. Seriously, just pop open Server Manager on your server, go to the Add Roles and Features wizard. When you get to the roles list, expand File and Storage Services, and just put a check in the box for ICSI Target Server. That's it. You're done. The tools are installed and ready to go. So, I'm going to leave you with a question. Now that you know this is possible, that you can completely separate your storage from your servers and put it anywhere on your network, what could you build? What new architectures could you design? What problems could you finally solve if your storage was truly this flexible?